for card number 1, I'm going to start off with that pattern paper that has penguins on it. And even though it's a pattern paper, it's just black and white, so it just screamed like it needed some coloring for me. And I'm going to try to color as many of the penguins as I can, but I am doing it strategically wherein I'm going to just try to color the edges of it, because I'm going to put that big sweater weather tag on the center, and so that's why I'm just kind of putting that just to kind of see where that's going to lay, because there's no reason for me to be coloring the entire thing when I know for a fact that I'm going to be putting that big tag in the center. So you're going to see me really add a lot of color here. I'm starting off with the oranges for the beaks, but then I'm going to go in with some pinks and some turquoise, some yellows, some deep blue, or dark blue I should say, and then that's it. I'm not going to color the actual penguin. I'm not very good with blending and all that, so I'm just focusing on coloring the mittens and the scarves. And I really like the result of this card. I love the color on it, and I love that I was able to add a little bit of artistic coloring to it. Like I said, I'm not very good with coloring, but in this kind of space or paper, I felt like it was doable for me. So I'm going to spend a lot of time with the coloring here. I did speed this up 4 times so you don't have to like sit there and watch me color too many times, but I didn't want to cut too much of this because I wanted to show you how I colored the background. And I am really tickled pink about how the result of this. Okay, so now that I've colored the paper, I'm going to add that to my red cardstock. I felt like the red was a good background for this, especially with all of the color. And then I'm going to put that big tag there, and I will add a twine to the top of the tag. I feel like a tag is not finished without something, a thread of some sort through the hole of the tag. So I picked up a red, and then I'm going to finish this off with a critter from that sticker sheet that I told you that I wanted to use up. And at first I wanted to use up a penguin because, you know, it fits in properly, and I think I will use a penguin here. I'm sorry, it's been a while since I have made the card and I kind of forgotten what I've put in it, but yes, I will add a penguin just to match everything else. And I love that the penguin is holding a little mug of some hot drink, because it matched the sweater weather kind of theme. And then I will add another sentiment here because I feel like the sweater weather phrase is not really a sentiment, so I am going to add warm wishes, and that just kind of complemented the whole thing, don't you think? And again, this is one of my favorites from this card set that I've created. And so I'm going to add all of that up, which is some adhesive, and then I will finish this off with some stickles. I will pull out the red stickles and just dot some or a couple of the stickles on the tag, and then call it a day. So with the stickles, I found out that because I store them right side up, that I do have to tap it a lot, so that the paint will come down in the nozzle. And so I was tapping that on the edge of my table there. So now we're going to go on to card number 2, and this one's a fairly easy one as well. I'm starting off with the green dot paper, and I have cut that into a scallop, and I'm going to be cutting a lot of my papers with the scallop die from My Favorite Things. I find that that size is really nice for a background paper, and I just like the scallop edge. And I'm also adding the the frame that has 4 openings, 1 rectangle, and then 3 squares. I'm adding that there. Initially, I had wanted that to be gold, but I like the addition of the print of this particular pattern paper. So I decided to go with that, and I'm just adding that with some mini dots because it is a very skinny frame. And then I am going to add a few dies. Now, I wanted to add some blocks of presents peeking out from that 3 square block on the bottom, but the die that I had stacked presents, so I had to cut them out, and some of them kind of cut out weird, but it's totally fine because I am overlapping them, and I'm also tucking them on the bottom of that opening. And then there is a die that said making spirits bright, and so I thought I would add that. And to finish it off, I will add some silver stickles and call it a day. And then now we go on to card number 3. I have to say that all of these cards were made pretty fast because of mass die cutting, but also because of the critters. The critters were too fun not to add, but at the same time, because they were all done, I didn't have to color them, I didn't have to stamp or cut them, that it made for a very fast card making process. And I will be doing that again next time. I'm gonna try to find some more critters because they're just so darn cute and I love adding them, but I also love that they didn't take too much of my time. So I am going to add 3 circles here. They're 3 different sizes, and I cut 2 from pattern paper, and I did use a nesting die that has stitching detail on the edges, and then this block that says "Tis the season to be jolly," and then I did ink up the edges of it just to make it stand out a little bit more. And then I'm going to finish it off with this fox that has some skates. I thought that was really cute. I will add that with some fun foam. And then I'm going to add some green stickles to it because I did pick 3 different colors of stickles for this particular kit. And then call it a day. I hope that you guys are liking this video and the process and the cards that I'm creating with this particular video. If you are new to my channel or that this is the first time that you have seen this series, I encourage you to check out the playlist that I have on my channel. It's called 10 Handmade Cards, 1 Homemade Kit. And if I remember, I'll make sure to link that in the description box below because I have been doing this series for at least 3 years and I have collected a few videos for it. So I hope that you'll check out the other themes, other cards that I've created for this particular series. So we are going on to card number 4. With this particular one, I wanted to use up the 3x4 papers that I pulled out for this kit. And there is a die that has a notch. It's just a long tab with a notch on the end, and it's part of the blueprints. My favorite things, blueprints, I don't know what number it is, but the one that I have been using to cut the scallop edge and also the 4-part frame. And so I just cut out the 3x4s with that particular notch. I could have just done this by hand, but I wanted to play with all of the dies that was in that particular set. And so I used the 3x4 and I cut them out. And this is a good idea, not only for 3x4 cards, but also for scraps of paper. And I'm going to put 5 of them on the bottom. I am inking up the edges. And then there's this one 3x4 card that says home for the, or this is, there's no place like home for the holidays, and has the 3 homes. And so I thought that that would be a nice sentiment block. So that's, I'm going to put that on the top. Now I strategically cut one of the 3x4 cards with the Christmas tree where the trees are, you have two trees that are showing, and so I'm going to put that in the center, and I'm just really eyeballing this. If I was a little bit more precise, that I would use my my T screw ruler. I can't even say that. And to make sure that it's all even. But I will be kind of fussing around here, making sure that it's fairly even. But as you can see, it's still not centered there, but that's totally fine. And I'm going to put this in on the top. Now, I've thought about kind of maybe putting foam adhesive on the back of that to make that stand out a little bit more. But I do know that most of my cards, especially the holiday ones, I plan on sending them. So I try to make them flat, or at least as flat as I can, so that it will be cheap, or not cheap, but it won't be too expensive for me to mail them. So now I'm going to add some red stickles, and again I have to kind of tap my stickle to the side of my table just to make it come out. And then off camera I did add some glitter glue to the houses with my Nouveau glitter pen. So now we are on card number 5, and this will be the last card for this particular video. Make sure that if you haven't subscribed, to subscribe and to click that bell button so that you will be notified when I do post the second half of this card set. And just to note that I just had so much fun with the cards, and especially trying to use up all the critters, that I did create 3 more cards with this layout. So with this kit rather. And so I ended up with 13 cards. And so I'm going to show that extra 3 cards in the next video. So for this one, I'm going to start off with a pattern paper background. And I wanted to create a scene for this one. And I'm using that circle kind of as hills. And so I created 3 in 3 different sizes, and I'm going to use that on the bottom. Now, I specifically used that pattern paper with snowflakes, again, because it would look good as a background to my little scene here. So I'm going to add my papers here. I decided to cut them and tuck them in between or inside the stitched part of my my background paper, because I thought that if I were to put that all the way to the edge, that I will lose the scallop look. And so I thought that keeping that inside the framed stitch die would be perfect. Now for sentiment, I'm going with this Merriest Wishes, and I'm just going to add that to the top of my my block here. And then now we're going to go on to my critter. I didn't know which critter I wanted to use for this one. Initially, I wanted to use these 2 birds because I thought that they were cute, and I can add 2 of them here. But I changed my mind just because I felt like they were a little bit small as far as like the main item for this particular card. And so I went with this polar bear, and I thought that he was really cute, so I'm going to add that, and I'm adding that with adding him with some fun foam. And then I'm going to add the whole thing to a white card base. So that's basically my cards for today. Again, if you like these videos, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. If you have any questions, let me know in the description box below. I will finish up this card with a couple of snowflake stickers and also some silver stickles here. And there are some close-ups at the end of this card, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!